All right, back with another live stream, and also back from Bell County Comic Con 2023. And I figured I would do an after action report. So if you're coming in and you could hear me just fine, let me know. If you ha- notice any problems with the audio, then let me know and I can fix that as well. But otherwise, I'm just going to get right into it and say that I had a great time down in Texas with Timothy Lim, Mark Pellegrini, Eric Canetti, the guys from Kindred Heavens, Alejandro Mirabal, Bill Williams, Matt Weldon. Got to see Dave Dorman for a brief period of time. He actually was in another hall, so couldn't really talk with Dave too much, but Dave gave me original artwork for Soul Finder Volume 4, which should be out in the not too distant future if all goes according to plan. As I've said before, it's being colored right now, and then after that, it shouldn't be too long to get the soft cover versions out, and then probably just as with the last book, I'll probably have the hardcovers out early into 2024 since those take a little bit longer. So yeah, great time. I guess I have a little video here. I'll talk over the video so it's not music playing and get any copyright strikes or anything along those lines. But yeah, this particular video to me is emblematic of Iconic Comics as a whole. And Cassie, who does the social media stuff for Iconic Comics, put this together. She was stopping by the books. You can see Bryce and Scott right there from Kindred Heavens. So they go around the table, and you can see that literally everybody was interacting with people. Everybody was either selling something or talking to people, and it was crazy. So basically, for 2 days straight, there wasn't a breather. I literally didn't sit down for the entire time. My back was kind of killing me by the end of it all, but it was just 2 days of meeting people, talking to people, and selling books, selling Soul Finder bags, selling tumblers, selling pins. Did not sell any book stands. Those I didn't really have out to sell either, but I do have more in stock, and I packed some last night because I do owe some people some book stands. But yeah, overall, it was sort of a madhouse in a good way for Iconic Comics at Bell County Comic Con. Sheilava was there, and it never really get tired of hearing Sheilava sing the Soul Finder theme song as well as the Common America theme song. That's kind of surreal, and she was doing her cosplay as Carly, so that was awesome. Got to meet a bunch of people that I see on Twitter all the time. That was cool. And actually, I guess I'll zoom out of this real quick and just go back. But there was actually Soul Finder cosplay going on. And let me see. Do I have to go down or up here to find it? So one of my readers came all the way from Puerto Rico. You know who you are. If you're watching now live or later, thank you for that. There we go. So literally, Solid Halon here flew in from Puerto Rico, and he was dressed as Father Redder, and he had his Soul Finder rosary with him, which was pretty cool. And actually, if you zoom in, he had put on the pins that we now have available that were designed by Timothy Lim. So that was awesome. And then also, I don't know if it's on here, but yeah, there was Soul Finder Ghostbusters mashup. So here's a reader who's got the Kiro patch, again designed by Timothy Lim. And he's got his Soul Finder rosary attached to his proton pack, wand, or whatever you want to call it. And then obviously the suit itself has the red trim that the Soul Finders have on their priestly uniforms. So that was cool. Captain Cummings is here. Thanks for tuning on. If you don't know, Captain Cummings started reading the Bible on his YouTube channel. So if you want to hear Bible readings and his commentary on them going forward, then you might want to check out his channel if you haven't in a long time. So that popped up in my notifications yesterday. That was pretty cool. Nice to see you again, Captain Cummings, as always. But yeah, so this was kind of, again, surreal, because when you have people that are traveling long distances to speak with you about your books and cosplaying as your characters, I was telling my wife that Soul Finder is like this tiny little tadpole in a giant ocean of entertainment. But even just stuff like this kind of freaks me out. I don't want to say in a bad way, but it like adds pressure in terms of not wanting to let people down with the future books and stories and the artwork that the different artists that I'm working with, and making sure that I spotlight their work properly and highlight it in nice books and all of that. So it's just, another one of those things where I'm naturally putting pressure on myself to do a good job. But when you know that people are invested enough in your books to actually fly from out of country to talk to you about your books, then it's just adding an extra layer of pressure, which is a good thing, because pressure makes diamonds. So let's see, Captain Cummings, today I'm going to read Proverbs at 2 p.m. Central, and later I'll be attending Mass for the Assumption of Mary. Very cool. Yeah, I went to the 7 o'clock Mass this morning. I was pretty tired. I was like, oh man, like I gotta get up early. They have another one at 12:10, but I was like, I don't want to wait until noon. So I just I was up at 6 o'clock this morning, and then I drove over there at 7 o'clock. Brett Palmer, thanks for tuning in, man. I really appreciate it. So Brett, I gotta contact you. I got some Soul Finder stuff with your name on it, and it's in a box, and I'm sending it your way. So be on the lookout in the near future for something Soul Finder related. And thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. So yeah, Bell County Comic Con, again, if you're just tuning in, was awesome. I think there was, again, 37,000 people there this year over the course of 2 days. I had my Soul Finder bags there. I was selling those. I was giving them out to certain people. If you fly from Puerto Rico, if you drive from Minnesota, and you stop by the booth, then there is a high probability that you are going to get free stuff from me. So yeah, but these went really well. It sold a lot of these. And the Wandering Creative, thanks for sharing on social media. I appreciate that. Captain Cummings says the Soul Finder bag is dope. Well, I could send one your way as well. Yeah, these are pretty cool. So they took a while. I don't know if you could quite see it, but the material is very strong. It's got the drawstrings, and then it also has a nice little zipper to put stuff in. And then on the inside, there is another zipper, so you could put keys and things like that in there. So it took a while to get this, but it came the Thursday before Bell County Comic Con. Everything just arrived perfectly on time. So the pins arrived, I think, on Thursday or Friday at Rangemaster Dan's house, and down in Texas. And he had those for me. I got prints made. The prints were ready by like Thursday or Friday or whatever it was. So those came in. Everything, it just went like down to the wire, but it arrived when it needed to arrive. You can see Sheilava once again as Carly, and she's with Father Redder there. So that was awesome. Went out to dinner. Solid Halon. Like I said, if you fly from Puerto Rico and you want to talk to that kind of comics guys, there's a high probability that we would like to treat you to dinner, because that's pretty cool that you flew out all that way. There's Matt and Bill. Let's see what else we got here. All right. Got the Iconic Comics sponsoring Bell County Comic Con. That was cool. And anything else we got? Blah, 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 blah. I met Eric Estrada, which was pretty interesting. If you know about chips, then you'll know who I'm talking about. So that was cool. And then I saw the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, and that was not so hot. It was I don't know. Rob, thanks for tuning in. What's up, guys? What's good? I had such a great time at Bell County Comic Con. Loved meeting all you guys again. And newcomers Scott and Bryce. Yeah, I didn't get to talk to Scott and Bryce too much, but I might be seeing them again in the very near future. I can't say too much, but just be on the lookout in September. In late September, I might be seeing Bryce and Scott again if all goes well. But yeah, Rob, thanks for stopping by the booth. Really appreciate it. David Rogers here, Baptist pastor here, not Catholic, but I affirm all that immerse themselves in the things of Christ, and I've enjoyed Soul Finder and hope to meet you in person at some point. I'm in East Arkansas. Thanks, David. I appreciate it. So yeah, I'll probably get back to Arkansas down the line. I think there's another show that's happening in September, but I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. Tim and Mark will let people know if they're going to be at a certain show or not. I will be going to a show in September, but I don't want to say too many things about it. For people will know, I'm basically going to wait until I'm at the show before I tweet anything about it, because I don't know. We'll just say I don't know how people will react to it. People that don't particularly like me or not. In the mainstream industry, I don't think it'll be an issue, but you never know. There's a lot of people that don't like me in the mainstream industry. So I guess I could like briefly talk about that. Some people were asking me about this. I got new Soul Finder book stands in. If you're interested in those, just contact me at douglashearns@douglashearns.blog, and I can make sure we could work something out for the book stands. A fair price, depending on where you are, whether you're domestic or overseas. So I've said before, I'm a benevolent dictator, so I like to take things on a one-on-one basis, but I generally have an idea of what I like to sell these for. I'm basically cool with $10 for these, but depending on circumstances, depending on how long you've been following me, if it was someone like Captain Cummings, I'm just going to literally send you something if you want it. Again, if you drove down from Minnesota to see me at Bell County Comic Con, I'll probably just send it to you for free. I don't know. We'll see. But I appreciate all the long-term support. But yeah, so let's see here. Wandering Creative again, showing off his stuff. Thank you very much. Where was it? Oh, okay, yeah. So people were asking me about this the other day. I said I was reminded yet again this morning how grateful I need to be, because associating with me makes creators at iconic lightning rods for stupidity, pettiness, intolerance from the so-called tolerant, etc. I have no shortage of reasons to always do my best, but the determination is always upped when I'm reminded artists who work with me willingly take slings and arrows on my behalf. I have the best friends and business partners in the world, and I can't let them down. My work, when all said and done, should be a thank you for their trust in me. So people wanted to know exactly what this was about. And it's not, I don't want to cause problems for people per se, but I will say that Eric Canetti has a spine of steel, and he's a man of integrity, because there are people that don't like me in the mainstream industry, and every time he says something nice about me, every time he says something nice about Iconic Comics, not every time, but since I have known Eric, whenever he says something nice about me, or a high probability of the time, there are individuals that are in his feed or interacting with his feed who will immediately block me. Like, I've never done anything to them. I've never said anything to them. But for a brief window of time, I will not be blocked. And then it's like somehow they'll see his feed, they'll click on my image and be like, oh, that guy. And they just like literally will block me immediately. And it's one of these things where I'm just like, dude, man, like I'm a conservative guy, but I'm not a rhetorical, I'm not throwing rhetorical Molotov cocktails or anything. I'm not going out of my way to go after people. I'm just literally a conservative dude, a conservative Catholic man. And some of these people, they'll be like, oh, they'll see my name, they'll see that I'm tagged and I'm blocked. And it's just like, really? So I know if they don't like me that much where I am immediately blocked, I know they can't be happy with Eric that he is saying nice things about me. And one way or the other, he's going to get blowback. He might not ever see it. They might not ever say anything to him, but they're clearly upset. And they're upset enough to let it be known via block, because they also have to know on some level that I'm going to talk to him about it at some point. Like, so they know that he's going to know. So they're sending a message one way or the other to be like, hey, guy who Eric likes, I don't like you. And I know you're going to say something to Eric. I don't always say something to him, not all the time, but every once in a while I do. And it's just kind of frustrating at times because I feel like I'm bombarded by the left and I'm bombarded by the right in mainstream comics and indie comics by people that just literally believe things about me that are not, like, literally not even true. And they oftentimes believe things that are just a complete funhouse mirror of reality. But yeah, so, but I guess if they want to block me over politics, like, hey, I'll talk about politics. Let's keep talking about politics. And you'll see, I'm not really, again, I'm not going out of my way to just say mean-spirited things to people. They can't accept anybody who disagrees with them. So I feel bad for Eric because I know that there's some sort of blowback that will, affect him in some way. Let's see. Tagia, thanks for tuning in. I was talking about your Ghostbusters mashup as well earlier. So thank you for that. Let's see. VMRE, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it as well. And anybody else I missed, thank you. All right. I mean, we can talk about the politics since we're on there. But first, let's go to this. So this came on my radar last night. This is pretty funny. So Zenescope Entertainment goes, get 50% off our gold and silver showcases during this week's Dollar Days with a Z, including this beauty featuring art by Timothy Lim. Hey, very interesting, because that's literally not Tim's work. In fact, that's Jeff Spokes' work. What's going on here? And then Tim goes, he like weighs in because they tagged him. And he's like, well, we hired Jeff Spokes to do a lot of our work. He's done amazing work on Common America and Black Ops and Iconic Comics stuff and Soul Finder. While we hire Jeff Spokes to do a lot of our work, I think you meant art by him as opposed to me. So then the question becomes, Zenescope, why was Timothy Lim on your mind when you're clearly talking about Jeff Spokes? You must have them together, paired in your mind. It's almost as if maybe, possibly, I don't know, but maybe you saw the work that Jeff Spokes was doing for Iconic Comics, and you don't want to talk about Iconic Comics, but maybe you want Jeff Spokes to do artwork for you. And you were watching and you were lurking and looking at Tim's feed, and you're like, hey, Timothy Lim is a really good talent scout. We don't want to really talk about Tim, but we do think he's an awesome talent scout because he works with some really great artists and he finds people that we aren't working with either currently or actively or maybe even ever. And so they're in their minds together. Oops, we put Timothy Lim on there. We didn't mean to do that, but Tim was clearly on our mind. I don't know. I'm just saying that's seems to be within the realm of possibility, because if you just cared about Jeff's work, you wouldn't tag Timothy Lim. Very interesting. Very interesting. Captain Cummings, I talked to Eric for hours a while ago, and he is a very cool dude. Yep, down in Arkansas when we were at that show not too long ago. Again, thanks for going to the show, man. That was really cool of you. Liked catching up. Very cool. Neostar Productions, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it as well. So yeah, this was cracking me up when I saw it, because clearly Jeff Spokes and Timothy Lim are bonded together in the minds of somebody at Zenoscope Entertainment for them to make that air. I feel like they had to be eyeing Timothy Lim's feed for that to happen. Scribbles, thanks for tuning in. Always like to see you. Appreciate it. Let's see here. We talk about Keith Olbermann. Could talk about the GOP. Could talk about the Marvels movie really quick. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Let's see here. Whatever one comes up first. Okay. So, and then anything I see in the chat here, I will try and keep an eye on it and see what people are saying. So I saw this recently from MCU Direct. They were saying that the director of the new the Marvels movie was saying that it's a really, quote, I'm quoting now, that it's a really wacky and silly movie. And I was thinking, if you want to destroy enthusiasm for a movie, it doesn't need to be a Marvel movie. It could be like almost any movie. You describe it as a wacky adventure, because when you say wacky, people immediately are like, woo, 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 woo. That they think of Larry, Moe, and Curly. They think about the Three Stooges and that sort of thing. Or they think about Homer Simpson running in a circle going, woo, 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 woo. They don't, like, that's not what they want to see when they see a superhero movie. Or to me, if you do want to see superhero movies that are wacky and silly, and maybe as I said on Twitter, if you're feeling particularly vindictive, you might say it's filled with a bunch of hijinks, yuck, 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 yuck. That sort of thing. That's not a superhero movie, or that's not a superhero. That's it's just sad and embarrassing, and it's indicative of a movie that obviously that's not taking itself very seriously. And I don't know how you do these movies where there are clearly supposed to be emotional moments, and you have the hero that's going through the gauntlet and trials and tribulations, and they have to carry their cross and all of these things, and they have to make it through the fire, and they have to come out the other end, and they have to be forged into this this solid sword of virtue, or whatever you want to call it. You can't do it if it's silly and it's wacky, wackadoo. Very strange, very strange. And so the directors of this movie, she will say, oh yeah, this is wacky, this is silly. And then YouTubers who their whole entire life is about picking apart every single thing that they say, you're giving them the fuel that they need. You're just giving them bait because sometimes, I've said before, YouTubers who their entire shtick revolves around finding things to be upset about on a like 24-hour, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day basis. Sometimes they just create content because they need content. They find things to be angry. But this is a situation where if you say it's a wacky adventure and people wanted a serious superhero movie, and this is going to be bad, man. This is not good. I don't want to see Marvel superheroes in a big budget movie that cost who knows what, like $100 million plus. I don't want them to be the Three Stooges. And I think if I remember correctly, there's like basically 3 leads in this movie with Brie Larson and the other Marvels. And they're apparently going to be like the female version of the three, Larry, Moe, and Curly, or something along those lines. That's the vision in my head when you say it's going to be wacky silly. And so you can't really get upset with someone like me if I'm like, I don't want to see that movie. In fact, I think it's going to be really bad. Tagia says, why so serious? It's all part of the plan. It's all part of the plan. The wackiness, the silliness. It started with Guardians of the Galaxy, which, again, that was actually, I felt as though that balanced it out correctly. But then Hollywood, being Hollywood, learned all the wrong mistakes from Guardian of the Galaxy, and then they started upping it. And then all of a sudden you get the Thor Ragnarok or whatever it was. Then you get Guardians 2. And then every single movie since then, from what I've seen in trailers and little clips that show up on YouTube or whatnot, because I haven't been seeing the movies anymore, they just keep upping the clown shoes factors over and over. Nothing is serious. Everything is a joke. Every time there's an emotional moment, you punctuate it with a joke, and nobody can ever just be serious. It's so anyway, that's that. That's leading into the I guess the political end of things. So real quick, Twitter CEO Linda Yaccarino was saying that if you say lawful but awful things, then your account's going to be limited. Now we know this. Linda, back in the day, if you look into her resume and where she comes from, everyone was like, yeah, nothing's changed. It's not going to change. In fact, it's probably going to get worse. And in fact, since Elon Musk took over Twitter, my feed has gotten a lot worse. So it's like they did something in the algorithm. Apparently, I'm saying lawful but awful things. I think it's because there was a certain day in January a couple years ago, and I was talking about that, and there's a guy named Ray that I was talking about. And the second that I start talking about Ray, you can see, so if you look on your, you can see how many people have viewed your tweets. My views on my tweets cratered the second I started talking about Ray in that day in January a couple years ago. It was like somebody was like, hey, now, this guy, and it just, my view count just cratered. It is not impossible, but is very hard for me these days. I've got like over 10,000 Twitter followers, and so you could see Bryce here. I mean, they have a ton of followers, but or Scott Malin does. So here's the thing. So once upon a time, I used to put out tweets, and the view count was literally in the thousands for like pretty much anything. And this is like just me going to a Foo Fighters concert. And the second I started talking about old Ray in January and all that, it is very hard for me to like, it's like, okay, we're going to show you the couple people that we know like your content, but we're going to make sure that even your own Twitter followers, they can't even see you. It's going to be like 10 times harder for you to actually reach people that have said that they want to see the things that you say. So I can't even put out innocuous tweets anymore, and they go absolutely nowhere, where in the past, I used to get literally, same thing as with Tim, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 views, and then the interactions. But then here's the thing. If you actually look at the interactions per, like, how many people are actually seeing your tweets, the engagement is perfectly fine on my tweets for the people that actually see it. It's like, it's fine. The problem is they're like, we're not going to show it to anybody. So Linda, you got me. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate that. The first week, week and a half that Elon Musk took over Twitter, I started getting all sorts of followers again. Like some setting was switched where it's like, hey, we're going to let people see you again. And then I started getting all these followers, engagement, and blah, 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 blah. And then magically, boom. Oh, nope. You had to talk about Ray, Doug. You had to talk about corrupt agencies in the U.S. government. That was the other thing. So I started talking about the FBI and Ray and all this sort of stuff, and they got me in a second. So there's something in my account where they're like, nope, we know who you are. And again, I wasn't saying anything outlandish or weird. I was just like saying like, hey, this guy Ray, he's literally on video encouraging people to do things that he knows that they will get in trouble for. And it's quite funny that nobody in the mainstream media seems to care about Ray. In fact, they're acting as if Ray is a really good guy and he's just a misunderstood grandpa. Whereas literally with grandmas who were at the Capitol on that particular day, who were walking around like basically their little cane, oh, yeah, we're gonna throw the book at grandma. But Ray over there, who's whispering in people's ears and telling them, hey, you see that fence over there? Push that fence down. Yeah, push that fence. Charge. Okay, I'm gonna go back now. Okay, you did. Okay, yeah, I can't go with you. I can't do that because there's other people I gotta tell to charge. So thanks, Linda. I really appreciate you basically throttling my account. Jefferson says, Doug, do you have any thoughts about Vivek Ramaswamy? I don't know. I haven't really been following too much of the day-to-day politics. I do know that I saw him singing at the Iowa State Fair, Eminem Lose Yourself, and I don't know why he would do that. I don't think that was a good. Here's the thing, and this is not, again, I don't know too much about the Vivek guy other than I saw him singing Eminem Lose Yourself at the Iowa State Fair. The Republican Party has a problem in that, where is it? So we know about the next indictment of Trump. Trump's got indictments that are just falling out of his pocket. He's got more indictments than like pocket change these days. Where is it? Okay. So in Georgia, they literally were like putting out that like media outlets or whatever. I don't know if it was like Reuters or whatnot. The indictments before the grand jury actually voted, and they convened to vote or whatnot on whether or not to this was going to go forward. So they had the outcome in advance. All right. So then you have Kevin McCarthy here, and he's talking about, hey, the government is weaponized and this and that and the other thing. And, basically the constitutional republic is in shambles. All of these people are corrupt. We got to do something. I'm outrageously outraged. We got to do something. What are you going to do? I'm going to go to the Iowa State Fair. I'm going to eat corn dogs and cotton candy and yuckity yuckaroo in Iowa. And we're all going to be just having a good time. And we're going to pretend like we got, I don't know, straw hats on and corn cob shabadoo and all this sort of stuff. And it's just a grand old time. And everything is just normal. We're going to be singing Eminem, Lose Yourself, rapping. But then on the same time, you're going to talk about how we are in a seriously bad place because the Department of Justice and the FBI and down in Georgia, various DAs are corrupt and all of this sort of stuff. Here's the thing. If you can create an outcome for a man before the vote takes place down in Georgia with a grand jury, the person that would do that would be the type of person that would also determine the outcome for a man after a vote, if that makes sense. So if you are dishonest enough and corrupt enough to say, hey, this is Trump's fate before the vote takes place, grand jury wise, then why would you think that those are the exact same people that hate him that much to be that corrupt wouldn't see a vote, and then if they didn't like the outcome, make sure they got the outcome that they wanted? They've shown that they are so corrupt that you don't even need to like Trump. You could be like, I don't like Trump. He called Rosie O'Donnell fat. He said mean things to Megyn Kelly once upon a time. His Twitter feed, he's a mean guy, he's uncouth, he's boorish, or whatever. You can believe all of those things while simultaneously also believing that the Department of Justice is corrupt, and all of these indictments and like at the federal level and different state levels and all of this stuff, it's corrupt. And they're just going after a guy when they turn a blind eye to all of their buddies who are, again, corrupt. And you could be upset about that. And so to me, the Republican Party has a problem, whereas on one hand, they keep saying, okay, things are horrible. Things that we are in a very, very bad place. We are in a dark place. But then simultaneously, they always downplay it. And they're just like, we're not going to do anything about it, though. We're going to go to the fair and we're going to eat corn dogs and we're going to square dance or something. I don't even know what with the Iowans down there. And we're just going to like, hey. And so there's a disconnect in my mind between this vacillation that the Republican Party has between they want to pretend like it's business as usual. They want to pretend like it's 1989 or 93 or whatever, 1998, even the early 2000s. Like even the early 2000s, like post 9/11, they're pretending like that is the political landscape, and it's not 2023. And there's just some serious tyrannical junk. That's like the nicest way I could put it, like going down. Like this is just full on Soviet style weird things where you're going after you're throwing the book, you're trying to arrest your political opponents. And here's the other thing. So even if, again, I don't know enough about the Vivek guy, whatever, the fact that the Department of Justice is going after Trump in this way, and it is so grossly criminal on their part and tyrannical on their part, it makes me support him, because I want him to be able to take on the people that are trying to destroy him in an unfair way. It doesn't matter what I think about his Twitter behavior. It doesn't matter what I think about his general demeanor towards people he doesn't like. He can say all sorts of things that like I would have said them differently, but they concocted the whole Russia thing against the guy. They went after him for years with just things that are blatantly false to try and like get this guy arrested or thrown off course, or to like sap his bank accounts of money so he can't defend himself properly, or he can't be on the campaign trail, and all of this sort of stuff. It's gross. And gross is, again, like an understatement. It's evil what they are doing to the guy. And so I want him to be able to take on his accusers. And so it doesn't matter who the Republicans run and whether I like them or not. It doesn't matter who is a DeSantis. It doesn't matter whether it's the Vivek dude. It doesn't matter because the Department of Justice is not unfairly, tyrannically going after them. They're going after Trump in a way where I feel it is literally a threat to all that America holds dear in its ideals and its principles. I feel like I can't even say how serious I think it is, because YouTube would take me off in like a heartbeat. Just like Twitter has throttled my account for barely. If I said how I really felt about where we are at as a nation right now, my YouTube account would be gone. It would disappear tomorrow. So I feel like the Republican Party, they have an identity crisis because Kevin McCarthy wants to pretend it's 2000. It's not 2000 anymore. It's 2023, and we are in a very dark place as a nation, as a whole. And something's got to be done. Speaking about dark places, so Keith Olbermann, here's the deal. I saw this yesterday. This popped up in my feed. So Keith was responding to this New York Post story where there was an old letter that, I guess it's an official letter, that former President Obama wrote to some girl back in college who maybe he was dating, but they literally have the letter on record. I think it's like at his old college or something along those lines. and he was telling the girl that he fantasizes about making love to men on like literally a daily basis. I want to bring this up so people don't think I'm just lying about this. Okay, Barack Obama told X, "I make love." See, I don't want someone to clip this. Barack Obama said he makes love to men daily, but in his imagination. Okay, so first of all, like that's very interesting for Mr. Obama to say. And so this particular woman is like, wait, is he gay? I mean, I feel like that's a fair question to ask if he's saying that he is making love in his mind to men on a daily basis. I feel like that's a fair question to ask. I mean, he wrote it. Like, it's not somebody else. He wrote it. So she asked that. And then Keith Olbermann says, no, but I'm confident you're going to hell. So here's my thing. This is my response. If people had a remotely accurate understanding of what hell is, if you really understood what an eternal separation from God was like, yeah, you step into eternity and you are forever disconnected from God, you are in hell. If people actually understood that, if they were remotely in the ballpark, if they considered the ramifications of having a consciousness that was completely separated from God, you would not blithely talk about it with others. You would not say, you're going there. You're going there. Oh yeah, you're going to hell. It wouldn't be the way that Keith Olbermann is delivered. You would not say that to people. And I was saying, speaking for myself, if I had to engage in hell talk, I'd say I'm confident from a standpoint of pure spiritual justice that I deserve to be there. And I beg God to stand before me after my death as a merciful Savior instead of solely as a just judge, because the latter would not be good for me. So if God is an infinite being and you sin against an infinite being, then your sins are infinitely offensive. So if you have ever committed a sin that was infinitely offensive to an infinite and eternal God, then from a standpoint of pure justice, you would, we're talking about the Department of Justice and what all these sorts of things, then yeah, you would, from a pure justice standpoint, you would deserve to be subjected to hell for all eternity. And that is me. But luckily, you have a merciful Savior in the form of Jesus Christ. And therefore, if you understood what hell was really like, you would beg Jesus to come to you as a merciful Savior upon your death, because you know what the rightful punishment for how you have lived your life would be. And so, Keith Olbermann, if you're out there, if you're listening, he's probably not, but if he ever gets back to him, Keith, man, you shouldn't be looking for people that you disagree with on the internet and immediately be like, you're going to hell. You're going to hell. Don't do that. That is not a good idea. I highly suggest looking inward at your own behavior and your own offenses against your fellow man and God, and you need to make amends for how you treat the people in your life, your immediate sphere of influence, and obviously God. So, Doug, choose one, hunting or fishing. I got to choose one, hunting or fishing. Fishing to me is pretty relaxing. So, I think hunting's cool and all, but for me, I like fishing because you can just like sit back. You're either on a boat or you're on the edge of a pier or whatever. You're just chilling out and whatever. With hunting, you got to get down in the grass, and it might be cold outside and you're just sitting there forever and you're just waiting for the right shot. You're like a sniper you're in the bushes or whatever the heck you are. Like, to me, that's not as relaxing as fishing. So if I had to choose between hunting and fishing, I would go with fishing. And you could like literally just sit on a lake all day, calm lake, nice weather, just casting my lure all day, reeling it in, thinking about life. But with hunting, Yeah, Captain Cummings, you got to get up early to go hunting and it's cold. Yeah, that's my point. I don't want to get up crazy early in the morning, and I don't want to be sitting in the dew, it's all in the grass and you're already wet and you're already cold and all this sort of stuff. I had enough wet days when I was in the infantry way back in the day in the 90s. And speaking about sleeping out in the woods in the cold and the grass and sitting there with your rifle, and you're just freezing your butt off, and you're like, I think I'm going to die of hypothermia right now. I think that might actually happen. I may have said this before, but I was in the field one time in Germany, and it was so freaking cold. It was like barely above freezing, but it had been like raining. So it wasn't sleet. It was technically, it was rain, but it was like so cold. And there was like giant water all over the place. I literally had to sleep in this like probably half-inch puddle of freezing cold water. And I was so cold that I thought I was going to die. I'm like, I'm literally going to die in Germany in a puddle in the woods or whatever. It wasn't actually in the woods. It was more like a field. Like the woods, actually, you could get dry a lot of the times because of the tree. But I was basically in this like puddle, and I was like, I think I'm going to die. And I was like, well, it's been a good one. It's been a good 18 years or whatever, 19 years. And I closed my eyes and I went to sleep. But I felt like I was at the bottom of the ocean. So everything was black. And I was like, I guess I was like technically unconscious, but like I was kind of conscious in a way. Like I realized there was this blackness or something. I can't explain it. I wasn't dreaming. It was just black. And like it felt like death. Like if you were just like, I don't even know what. And then I woke up like probably like a couple hours later, like 2 hours later or whatever it was. And I was surprised I was alive. I was like, I'm alive. I didn't die. Anyways, that's a long aside about why I would rather fish than hunt. But it always stuck with me that I was like, I think I'm gonna die if I lose consciousness right here. It's the end. And then I was like, well, see you later. And so I guess I was okay with death when I was 18 or 19 years old. Even back then, I was like, it's been a wild ride. See you later. Mr. X, thanks for tuning in. Says, howdy, AL. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. So anyways, Keith Olbermann, you gotta reevaluate your life, man. You gotta do some serious introspection. Father Steve's a cool guy. If you read Soul Finder and you ever saw Grunow, the inspiration for Grunow is actually Father Steve. And yeah, he's a cool guy. So check him out on Twitter, check him out on Instagram. He has supported Soul Finder from the start, the very, very start. A lot of people slammed the door in my face when I reached out to them. Father Steve literally called me on the phone, and we had a really cool conversation about comic books and Daredevil. And then he basically did an interview, like had Word on Fire essentially do an interview with me on the first Soul Finder Demons match. And then if you look, it's like God, the Devil, and Comics or something on YouTube is the video. When I was still at the newspaper, I did basically a discussion with Father Steve on all sorts of stuff. So super cool guy. And actually, I know Captain Cummings lifts weight. If you check out Father Steve on Instagram, he's got some serious guns. He's like he's big into weightlifting. So I think you would like Father Steve a lot. All right. I think that's pretty much everything. Mr. Alexander, thanks for tuning in. Sorry that you caught me on the tail end of everything, but you could always rewind unless anybody has any final comments in the chat here about anything I didn't really talk about. Other than that, I just want to say thanks to everyone who went to Bell County Comic Con. Tagia, Rob Curro, you were in the chat here. Appreciate it. Who else did I miss? I know there's somebody else who went. Captain Cummings, I saw you at a show recently. Scribbles, always like seeing you and anybody else. And whoever asked about Vivek, I am sorry if I upset you with my Vivek answer. But again, I will reiterate, I don't really know the guy. I don't know enough about him. But I am always inclined to defend the Donald because the Department of Justice is throwing everything, the kitchen sink at this guy and then some. And I want Donald to have his day at the ballot box against the Department of Justice and the FBI and the CIA and all of these corrupt bastards. You don't usually hear me say you corrupt bastard, but they are corrupt bastards. And I want him to be on the ballot, and I want people to be able to vote. Who knows what's going to happen on election day, but I want the Donald on the ballot because these people, the people that say that he should be in jail, no, they should be in jail. And that is saying it lightly. They should, I'll even say I'll be even nicer. They should be in the stocks with tomatoes being thrown at them. That's nice in terms of what I think about these people and what should happen to them. Let's see. AL, oh yeah, persecution of Trump just makes me want him to win more. Yeah, like I said, in my perfect world, Donald Trump would say things in a different way. He would not be as bombastic about stuff or whatever, but he would still follow the same policy path or whatever. But all I know is if he has these corrupt individuals this upset and this livid, and they are going this far to stop him, it means he was doing something right. It means that he hit a serious nerve, multiple nerves, because they are doing things that you would have never dreamed possible even 10 years ago are going down today. And so it means that he was doing something right, something very, very right, because essentially evil people are screeching and they're clawing and they're doing all these sorts of stuff to him. So no matter what he says on Twitter, I know he was doing something to really tick off some evil people. And that is a good thing. If evil people are upset at what you are doing, it means that you're more right track than wrong track. That's for sure. Let's see. Jim, why does Iconic Comics have a corporate jet? And who is their mysterious CEO, Lisa Marie? We have seen the pictures. Yeah, so Iconic Comics, if you don't know, they have secret Chinese dark money. You want to know why I was at the Foo Fighters concert in Lake Tahoe? You want to know why I was in Las Vegas seeing the Smashing Pumpkins? You want to know why I got that mysterious room upgrade? It's because the secret Chinese dark money that supports Iconic Comics and its private jet, the Lisa Marie. Yeah, but in all seriousness, thanks again to everybody that supported Iconic Comics. I'll try and be back in the near future. Thank you for supporting Soul Finder, Arc Athena, Common America, Black Hops, Punchline, Kindred Heavens, Long Harbor, anything else that I'm missing along the way. Thank you. And I'll see you guys later. Thanks again.